Good morning, my good people. How are you? It's again Hussein Ali Mashari, Umrah Hamu 254, and it's reading with Hamu 254. You'll get these books online, that is on my channel. So make sure you keep tuned in and you do the following, the subscribing, and everything. So because that you keep tuned and for the newcomers, feel welcomed, and for those who have been supporting me since we started this journey, I really feel appreciated and thank you so much. May God bless you people. So today we are starting this book, and Rich Dad Poor Dad, and this book, I think there is something that you have to understand about this book. It's all about what as a parent or what as a youth can you teach yourself that maybe your dad didn't manage to teach you about money, about financial stability, and all those things. So the topic here is rich dad, poor dad. What the rich teach their kids about money that the poor and the middle class don't. By Robert T. Kiyosaki, a very famous book. So guys, let's start direct. So I will just read about like something low, like this one is mostly to parents everywhere, a child's first and most important teachers, and to all those who educate, influence, and lead by examples. So I think in all these, I'm sure you will be one amongst these. So let's go, guys. So the acknowledgement is how does a person say thank you when there are so many people to thank? Obviously, this book is to thank you to my two fathers who were powerful role models, and to my mom who taught me love and kindness. Always remember to do what? To appreciate your parents. May whoever the guardian you had, whoever the parent you had, make sure you have like that thing of appreciating them. So the most responsible for this book becoming in reality is my wife. Also, this one is the acknowledgement. Yeah, and then let's do the contents. What we'll be covering: introduction, rich dad, poor dad. Chapter 1: the rich don't work for money. We work for money, me and you, bro. Sis, the rich don't work for money. Money works for the rich. Who knows? Anyway, chapter 2: why teach financial literacy? Mind your own business. Chapter 3, that is. Then chapter 4 is the history of taxes and the power of cooperation. And then chapter 5, the rich invent money. Chapter 6, work to learn. Don't work for money. Chapter 7, overcoming obstacles. Obstacles, like there are too many, a lot of them. And then chapter 8 is getting started. Chapter 9, still want more? Here are some to-dos. You should do more. So I think, Manze, you are into this. Please don't forget to do the thing that we do here. Subscribe, like, and comment. Share the video if you care a lot of people. It will be in English and we will be talking in between, not to make it as fluid as we can, but we want to make it as fluid. It should be flowing. Yeah. Introduction: rich dad, poor dad. Having two dads offered me the choice of contrasting points of view, one of a rich man and one of a poor man. So this guy means had two dads. Some of us has more than two. I have more than 5 fathers, rich, poor. Yeah, but what does that teach me? Is it just a normal thing, like I have this one calling dad, this one brought me up, this one gave birth to me, this one was my like educational judge, or like the dad, like mentally the whatever? Is it all that? But is there a lesson I should learn? I had 2 fathers, a rich one and a poor one. One was highly educated and intelligent. He had a PhD and completed 4 years of undergraduate work in less than 2 years. He went to Stanford University, the University of Chicago, and Northwestern University, and to do his advanced studies all on full financial scholarships. The other father never finished the 8th grade. So it means these were kind of brothers. Yeah, bad to hear this, but it's okay. Anyway, so both men were successful in their careers, working hard and all their lives. Both earned substantial incomes, yet one always struggled financially. The other would become one of the richest men in Hawaii, one day leaving tens of millions of dollars to his family, charities, and his church. The other left bills to be paid. Just imagine how many of our family members like die and leave us with bills, hospital bills, whatever the bills. We have sold lands, we have sold equipment, like the things that we had. How many? So this one will make you overcome that part. Yeah. So let's go on. Both men were strong, charismatic, and influential. Both men offered me advice, but they did not advise the same thing. Both men believed strongly in education, but did not recommend the same course of study. If I had one dad, I would have had to accept or reject his advice. Having two dads offered me the choice of contrasting points of view, one of a rich and one of a poor man. Instead of simply accepting or rejecting one or the other, I found myself thinking more, comparing, and then choosing for myself. The problem was that the rich man was not rich yet, and the poor man was not yet poor. So, when we are done with learning, mostly you find like when we are done with learning, some of our parents are able still to support us a bit. We are looking for work and all these things. But is that enough, bro? Is that enough, sis? Anyway, let's go on. Instead of simply accepting or rejecting one or the other, I found myself thinking more, comparing, and then choosing for myself. The problem was there that the rich dad or the rich man was not yet rich and the poor man was not yet poor. Both were just starting out on their careers and both were struggling with money and families, but they had very different points of view about money. For example, one dad would say, the love of money is the root of all evil. The other said the lack of money is the root of all evil. In Kenya right now, let's go in Kenya or just worldwide. What do you think between these 2 points? We have the love of money is the root of all evils and the lack of money is the root of all evil. Which one do you think it is? Answer in the comment section, guys. Anyway, as a young boy, having 2 strong fathers both influencing me was difficult. I wanted to be a good son and listening, but the 2 fathers did not say the same thing. Confusing, bro. This family member wants you to be a doctor, this one wants you to be an engineer, this one wants you to be an ambassador, and then, boom, you go into career you didn't want to do. So, it happens like this. Oh, it's not there, so let me just read. I wanted to be a good son and listen, but the 2 fathers did not say the same thing. The contrast in their points of view, particularly about money, was so extreme that I grew curious and intrigued. I began to start thinking for long periods of time about what each was saying. Much of my private time was spent reflecting, asking myself questions such as, why does he say that? And then asking the same question of the other dad's statement. I think it would have been much easier to simply say, yeah, he is right, I agree with that, or to simply reject the point of view by saying, the old man doesn't know what he is talking about. Instead, having 2 dads whom I loved forced me to think and ultimately choose a way of thinking for myself. As a process, choosing for myself turned out to be much more valuable in the long run than simply accepting or rejecting a single point of view. So this one, what does it teach you, bro? Says, whenever you hear 2 people like telling you this thing, one is telling you this thing, one is telling you the contrast of the thing, what should you do? I think for me, you should be able to compare them and think. You choose for yourself which one is better. You see, always choose for yourself which one is better for you. That's what I can tell you for now. Okay, so remember to choose for yourself which one is better for you. One of the reasons the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, and the middle class struggles in debt is that the subject of money is taught at home, not in school. What are we taught in school? In school, we are not taught about money. You are not told about money. In school, you are taught about taxes. In school, you are taught about income. In school, you are taught about profit. In school, you are taught about loss. But in real sense, when you go home, you see your parents going struggle. That is about money. Investing, that is about money. In school, you are not taught about these things. No. Rich don't work for money. But in school, you are taught to work for money. Learn so you become successful. That's what you are taught. Anyway, let's go on. So, this one is like, so, most of us learn about money from our parents. So, what can poor parents tell their children about money? They simply say, stay in school and study hard. The children may graduate with excellent grades, but with a poor person's financial programming and mindset. So you might be successful, like in school, you are successful, very successful, excellent. But here you are being told that you have excellent grades, but with a poor person's financial programming and mindset. Anyway, suddenly money is not taught in schools. Schools focus on scholastic and professional skills, but not on financial skills. This explains how smart bankers, doctors, and accountants who earn excellent grades may struggle financially all their lives. Our staggering national debt is due in large part to highly educated politicians and government officials making financial decisions with little or no training in the subject of money. Suddenly, so we go on. Today, I often wonder what will soon happen when we have millions of people who need financial and medical assistance. They will be dependent upon their families or the government for financial support. What will happen when Medicare and social school run out of money? How will a nation survive if teaching children about money continues to be left to parents, most of whom will be or are already poor? So just imagine, how will a nation survive if teaching children about money continues to be left to parents, most of whom will be or already are poor? Anyway, let's go on reading. Because I had two influential fathers, I learned from both of them. I had to think about each dad's advice, and in doing so, I get valuable insights into the power and effect of one's thought on one's life. For example, one dad had a habit of saying, I can't afford it." The other dad forbade those words to be used. He instead I asked, "How can I afford it?" One is a statement and the other is a question. One lets you offer the hook and the other forces you to think. My son, to be rich dad, would explain that by automatically saying the words I can't afford it, your brain stops working. By asking the question, how can I afford it, your brain is put to work. Just imagine, I want to travel to Dubai by deck December, that is. I say, hence I am not financially stable, I won't go. And the other one I say, how can I go? Which one gives me motivations? Just a question to ask. You should ask yourself the same question. Anyway, let's go on. So here it is. So by asking the question, how can I afford it, your brain is put to work. He did not mean that you should buy everything you want. He was fanatical about exercising your mind, the most powerful computer in the world. He'd say, my brain gets stronger every day because I exercise it. The stronger it gets, the more money I can make. He believed that automatically saying I can't afford it was a sign of mental laziness. Although Both dads worked hard. I noticed that one dad had a habit of putting his brain to sleep when it comes to finances, and the other had a habit of exercising his brain. The long term result was that one dad grew strong financially and the other grew weaker. It's not much different from a person who goes to the gym to exercise on a regular basis versus someone who sits on the couch watching television. Proper physical exercise increases your chance for health, and proper mental exercise increases your chance for wealth. My two dads had opposing attitudes, and that affected the way they thought. One dad thought that the rich should pay more taxes to take care for of those less fortunate. The other said taxes punish those who produce and reward those who don't produce. One dad recommended study hard so you can find a good company to work for. The other recommended study hard so you can find a good company to buy. I think this is the lesson we have learned. We were told that study hard to become a pilot, study hard to become an engineer, study hard to become a teacher, study hard to become whatever you wanted to become, or whatever they said you would become. But I think we are very few, or there are very few people who are told to study hard to buy the airport, study hard to buy the engineering company, study hard to start your own school. Difference, huh? Okay, let's go on anyway. One dad said that the reason I am not rich is because I have few kids. The other dad said the reason I must be rich is because I have few kids. Yeah, the reason I will be successful is because for you, my kids. The other one said the reasons why I am not successful is because of you kids. I have lot of bills. Mentality. Anyway, let's go on. One encouraging talking about money and business at the dinner table, while the other furthermore the subject of money to be discussed over a meal. One said, when it comes to money, play it safe, don't take risks. The other said, learn to manage risks. Take risks, but learn to manage risks. Anyway, let's go on. One believed our home is our largest investment and our greatest asset. The other believed my house is a liability. And if your house is your largest investment, you are in trouble. Hey, have you had the mentality they had? It's very hard to distinguish who to follow. Where are you anyway up to that point? Let's go on. Those are the questions you should be asking yourself. I am just asking myself as I am reading, and I am reading to you. I have read the book, so I'm reading it to you. So guys, please, let's listen anyway. So let's go on. Both dads paid their bills on time, yet one paid his bills first while the other paid his bills last. One dad believed in a company or the government taking care of you and your needs. He was always concerned about pay raises, retirement plans, medical benefits, sick leave, vacation days, and other perks. He was impressed with the two of his uncles who joined the military and a retirement and entitlement package for life after 20 years of active service. He loved the idea of medical benefits and PX privileges the military provided its retirees. He also loved the tenure system available through the university. The idea of job protection for life and job benefits seemed more important at times than the job. He would often say, I have worked hard for the government and I am entitled to these benefits. The other believed in total financial self-reliance. You should rely on yourself. Most of us, Kenyans, Ugandans, Tanzanians, or even whatever, if you are a US like civilian, do you think the government should be paying for everything, or do you think like the other dad, like you entitle yourself to self-reliance? Which one is better? Anyway, let's go on. It's getting hotter. He spoke out against the entitlement mentality and how it created weak and financially needy people. He was emphatic about being financially competent. One dad struggled to save a few dollars. The other created investment. One dad taught me how to write an impressive resume so I could find a good job. The other taught me how to write strong business and financial plans so I could create jobs. Has it changed anything in your life? Like, just imagine, instead of being taught how to write resumes, if you are taught on how to create a job for yourself, you create, like, you start a business mentally, you put it into paperwork, and then start the job. Which one would be better? Anyway, let's go on reading. It's getting hotter. So here it is. Being a product of two strong dads allowed me the luxury of observing the effects the different thoughts have on one's life. I noticed that people really do shape their lives through their thoughts. For example, my poor dad always said, I'll never be rich, and that prophecy became reality. My rich dad, on the other hand, always referred himself as rich. He would say things like, I am a rich man, and rich people don't do this. Even when he was flat broke, after a major financial setback, he continued to refer himself as a rich man. He would cover himself by saying, there is a difference between being poor and being broke. Broke is temporary, poor is eternal. My poor dad would say, I am not interested in money, or money doesn't matter. My rich dad always said, money is power. The power of our thoughts may never be measured or appreciated, but it became obvious to me as a young boy that it was important to be aware of my thoughts and how I expressed myself. I noticed that my poor dad was poor not because of the amount of money he earned, which was significant, but because of his thoughts and actions. As a young boy having two fathers, I became acutely aware of being careful about which thoughts I chose to adopt as my own. Should I listen to my rich dad or my poor dad? There is a difference between being poor and being broke. Broke is temporary, poor is eternal. Have you heard that, or should I repeat again? There is a difference between being poor and being broke. Broke is temporary and poor is eternal. Eternal. So call yourself rich, work towards the richness, and you'll become rich. Call yourself poor, your mind sleeps, and then boom, you fail. I'm sorry. Although both men had a tremendous respect for education and learning, they disagreed about what they thought was important to learn. One wanted me to study hard, earn a degree, and get a good job to earn money. He wanted me to study to become a professional, an attorney, or an accountant, and go to do business school for my MBA. The other encouraged me to study to be rich, to understand how money works, and to learn how to have it work for me. I don't work for money, were what he would repeat over and over. Money works for me. At the age of 9, I decided to listen and learn from my rich dad about money. In doing so, I chose not to listen to my poor dad, even though he was the one with all the college degrees. Hey, humor here. So, at the beginning of the story, he had one dad who went up to grade 8 and the other one who did masters and all that stuff. So, the one who did all those masters, he used to have this mentality, work to become a professional. The other one who did not go to school used to think like money should work for me. I am not saying school is a scam. I did go to school, but I don't know. You people, tell me. I'm confused. There is this lesson from Robert Frost. Robert Frost is my favorite poet. Although I love many of his poems, my favorite is The Road Not Taken. I use its lessons almost daily. The road not taken, two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth, then took the other, as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that, the passing there had worn them really about the same, and both that morning equally gray in leaves on step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the fast for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way. I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Don't always take the road that is taken by everyone. Take the road that you think will suit you. Yeah, all that has made all the difference. And that has made all the difference. Over the years, I have often reflected upon Robert Frost's poem. Choosing not to listen to my highly educated dad's advice and attitude about money was a painful decision, because it was a decision that set the rest of my life. Whoever you chose to listen will shape the rest of your life. Once I made up my mind about whom to listen to, my education about money began. My rich dad taught me over a period of 30 years. Alhamdulillah. Excuse me, guys. Once I made up my mind about whom to listen to, my education about money began. My rich dad taught me over a period of 30 years until I was 39 years old. He stopped once he realized that I knew and fully understood what he had been trying to drum into my often thick skull. Money is one form of power, but what is more powerful is financial education. Money comes and goes, but if you have the education about how money works, you gain power over it and can begin building wealth. The reason positive thinking alone does not work is because most people went to school and never learned how money works, so they spend their lives working for money. Because I was only 9 years old when I started, the lessons my rich dad taught me were simple, and when it was all said and done, there were only 6 main lessons repeated over 30 years. 30 years learning 6 things. Let's learn them within maybe some days. I don't know how many will we use. We are on page 17 out of 210. Let's go on. This book is about those 6 lessons, put as simply as possible, just as simply as my rich dad put those lessons to me. The lessons are meant not to be answers, but guideposts that will assist you and your children to grow wealthier no matter what happens in a world of increasing change and uncertainty. We are done with the introduction. Chapter 1. The rich don't work for money. The poor and the middle class work for money. The rich have money work for them.